This is the 21st season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. We got a great show for him today. We're going to go live on the water. Well, there's three people in the boat that obviously know how to catch fish. One of which has just won a couple $1 million doing it. Ott DeFoe, fresh off of the Stage 6 victory in the Bass Pro Tour on the Potomac River, which was presented by Athletic Brewing. I know Justin Lucas kind of got me on the Athletic Brewing train. He's one of those guys, man. I've got people talking about the health kick. I had Carl Jacobson on, who was talking about all the health and benefits of working out and getting your mind and body right. And Lucas, who's with the Athletic Brewing, a non-alcoholic beer that you can drink afterwards. I did something that probably wasn't very good for my body this week, and obviously 4th of July. Now I love being out like on the boat, on the water. I'm not a lay by the pool guy. And my fiance Court, where she lives now, has, a nice pool, the deck outside where you can grill and all that stuff where she lives. So we went out there. I'm just going to show the arm right now. Little toasty. Now I have gone through 3 bottles of aloe vera over the past 4 days. There was no show yesterday. I actually went and visited my parents in Illinois. Don't get a chance to go home very often and see them. So it was awesome to see them. No tournaments this past weekend. One of the things that I think all of the tours do that is smart is typically there's not a major tournament on the water over 4th of July. Remember the first time and the last time I put my boat on the 4th of July weekend, my buddy Juice talked me into bringing the old Skeeter ZX190. Now, this had to have been 2009, 2010, to Grand Lake, where his family had a cabin. And we'd fish like 6, 7 in the morning until the boats got out. And then he also talked me into tubing out of that ZX190, which everything was awesome until we hit one of those wakeboard wakes, and it deployed the trolling motor and snapped the shaft in half. And that was the last time I had the bass boat on the water on a holiday weekend. But man, when you got people on the show that are actually fishing and catching fish, now hopefully Ott isn't giving up any super secret stuff here. We're going to bring him in right now. So it is the DeFoe show right now. Ott DeFoe. What's your boy's name again, Ott? Sorry, you just told me again.
Yeah, you're good. Parker. This is Parker. So Panger and Parker and Panger.
Panger and Parker. Yeah, like I said, last time I think it's amazing how the kids are growing up. I watched like Vegas Iconelli out there. He's like rolling around in 5-footers in like a little John boat, winning everything there is. So next generation of anglers in the boat, as we're already seeing like what the Robinson boys are doing, and Al Jones Jr. is now a established veteran, but. Remember when all those kids were tiny? That means I'm getting old. Plus, I'm wearing the floral button-down short sleeve. That's a sure sign that you've hit a certain age.
Yeah, you definitely have when you start wearing that kind of stuff. And it is, I mean, you talked about before we got on the show. It's like, wow, y'all aren't pushing these same kids around in strollers anymore. And no, and it is like, I don't feel any older. I think I'll definitely look it with the amount of gray hair that I have and stuff, and just the amount of hair that I don't have. But it is definitely it is funny because it doesn't feel like it's been that long, since I was a rookie on the Elite Series and the twins were born. That doesn't feel like that long ago, but it has been quite some time at this point, for sure.
It hasn't been that long since you were on the show. I believe the last time we had you on was a really good BTL. It was you and your buddy Andy, or Andrew, as you call him. You guys won the team series together. So like I said, I try to get you on after you win one. I called it a thinking man's tournament before. Congratulations on becoming the 3rd most winning angler in MLF history behind, I think, Wheeler and Connell, who seem to win every other one, but your fourth regular season. And I'm thinking back to some of those other ones you've won, man, you seem to have like a pretty signature moment, like in each one of your wins, whether it's like that cranking around the bridge deal or whether you have like, you always seem to catch them a cool way.
Yeah, that really is pretty true. You know, I think of, and I think of like three of the four regular season BPT wins. By the third period, they really weren't close, you know, and I think that's probably why they feel that way. And I'm very thankful for that, because it's not typically that way a lot. And I didn't expect that going into Potomac. I even, in the preview, you know, the deal before we started on the final day, I was like, this is going to be a dogfight all the way to the end. That was what I expected out of it, because that's kind of the way the whole week had been. Nobody was really running off with it or anything any day. But yeah, that was, you know, at Athens, cranking around that bridge, you know, yeah, that ended up kind of being a runaway there towards the end at Harris Chain, on that one, you know, on that championship day, kind of the same deal. I got to catch some actually cranking there towards the end of that day and really, you know, pulled away from Bobby and the rest of the field. But yeah, and then this one, you know, the only one that was really close, and it still was yet kind of a signature, you know, what you would expect from me, was at Sam Rayburn. And that one was really close, but I was way up the river, didn't have signal, couldn't get the last fish updated. You know, it's like it's not just, okay, yeah, he's in the middle of the lake, you know, reeling in bass. There's always something weird, always something weird going on with it. It seems like, to, you know, around my wins.
Yeah, this was a dominating win. Ron Nelson finished second. I think you got him by almost 30 pounds. And then Bradley Roy in third with a really good finish in the BPT. He had 44 on the final day. So, yeah, you knew you had this thing wrapped up. Before we get any further, I want to give a shout out to, well, what do you do after you win your fourth BPT? You call up your super agent and you get on the water to get some media done. So a big shout out. We've had him on the show before, JD Blackburn, for getting the feed set up and everything set up on the water. I know you're out enjoying time, getting content with him, fishing with your boy. Cannot thank you enough for taking a little bit of time out to do BTL, but kind of as much as you want to explain, where are you and what's going on right now?
Yeah, we're on the upper part of the Holston River. Getting content, fun fishing. You know, just making some YouTube content and social media stuff, and just fishing more than anything.
Now, are you in the Ott DeFoe Bassmaster Opens rule book tunnel hull currently?
Oh yes, and which you know, after this boat became completely. You know, no way possible to possibly use it anymore. I just went ahead and went with the jet on it. So, you know, the last few years, the last 4 or 5 years at this point, I guess, I've had this rig, the Tracker 1754, but with the 65 horse Mercury jet on it. And, you know, the jet's the ideal setup. Like what I would do with the prop and tunnel hull and all that kind of stuff, that was a means to an end to try to make it as close to a jet as I possibly could. But once it became just a fun fishing boat, it was jet all the way. So, but yes, this is the highly illegal rig for tournament fishing, because you just automatically, I mean, if you put this in at blast off, you automatically have won. Like nobody else stands a chance. You know, they just go ahead and hand you the trophy, and everybody else goes to fish for second place.
Yeah, you put forward-facing sonar on that and pick up an Alabama rig, and tournament fishing might just implode. What is the BPT now? I mean, Keith Poche's been doing some crazy stuff as of late. Like, is it still, you can't use a jet on the BPT or anything like that?
Yeah, it's no tunnel hull, no jet.
Okay.
It's all locked down. One boat for the year. It's all locked down as far as all those kind of boat stipulations go.
Now, what are the odds that we're going to see a fish catch in the next 15 minutes during this interview?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Like I'm surprised we haven't yet. We're actually getting to like what should be the best part of the river right down through here for this section that we're in. So yeah, it would surprise me if we don't see a fish catch in the next 15 minutes.
Let's get into the victory, and then hopefully we'll get interrupted a couple different times. And, you know, feel free to, do you still have the Ott
Speaking of
hooked up live on BTL. Talk us through it, Ott.
pretty nice one. It's yeah, this stretch of the river, there are some largemouth up here, but it is. Oh, he's got me in the grass. Come here. It is primarily smallmouth, and like I said, this is on the Holston, and there's a lot of nice ones.
He's going down for the iTunes listeners. He's going down to land it. He lifts it. Now, I do believe that there's some sort of competition that has taken place. A beautiful smallmouth, looks to be in the about probably a 2.2 to 2.6.
Yeah, we're going to weigh him just to see, because we are in fact having a competition. Parker and I are, and Parker's he caught one before lines in this morning. I was setting the GoPros up and stuff, and he caught a 220. But it was before lines in, so JD, the official.
Okay.
Scale,
they have the scale. There's JD.
Yeah. How about a 240?
Oh, a 240.
Almost 2.5.
I was pretty much dead on that.
You were pretty much dead on the 2.6.
It's like I've seen a few fish.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, let's clear water, shallow water, smallmouth. Go ahead and put him back. Caught him on something that's become more and more of a favorite of mine, a real small jig.
Now you're throwing that jig on a spinning rod.
I am here just because the water is clear, so I wanted it on a light leader. I've just got it on like 10-pound leader. So that was kind of the reason for it. We catch a lot on a shaky head. That's what Parker's been throwing, and what JD was actually kicking our butt with earlier to start with.
I know. I got some pictures of JD holding up some nice ones too.
What was your one, JD? 340. He caught one almost 3.5. So that's this place up here, like where we live. It would be considered the lower Holston, and the lower Holston is slam full of fish. You might catch, on a good day, you'll catch 50, 60, 70, but you might have 5 2-pounders. Up here, you're probably, and this place has got a bunch of big old carp. There's a bunch of big carp cruising right through here. Parker's got a rock.
Parker, that was an impressive hook set, though.
He was very impressed with your hook set. If it were a bass, he would have never stood a chance. But yeah, up here, man, you may not catch. You may catch 20, a good day is going to be 20 or 30 fish, but you don't catch many under a pound. Or at the house, I mean, if you catch 60, you're not going to have 20 that are over a pound and a half. Like you catch a lot of little bitty dudes. So it's just a different, a little different quality of fish up here.
All right, we're gonna show one of your catches from the final day here. I'm gonna show it on the screen here from the Potomac River, the final round. It's you. Looks like you're flipping a jig there, but back in the skinny water like that. This is the first showing you catching a fish while you're live catching a fish on air too. But just to give people an idea, this tournament, I talked to you a little bit before we went live. It seemed like you had elements of fish management, tide schedule, and crowd management all packed in to one event, plus really, really crazy hot weather and water.
Yes, it was. There were a lot of factors, as there always are on tidal events, and I don't know why I've never considered this before, but before we got there, obviously we knew how hot it was going to be. And I'm like, man, I don't want to practice. Like, I've always been one of those guys that I don't practice daylight to dark. I like to get out there early, but I'm not a daylight to dark practicer. Like, I'm more of a daylight to 5, daylight to 6. That's kind of my time frame. And this is the part that I never really had considered before. And I'm not sure why with tidal water, but we all know the tide gets, 50 minutes, almost an hour later each day. Like, that's, if the high tide is 8 o'clock in the morning, first day of practice, the next day it's going to be 8:50, next day it's going to be 9:40, yada, 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 yada. Again, I don't know why in the world I've never really thought that out that way, but I thought, man, why in the world would the first day of practice, why would I be out here past 2 o'clock? Like, I'm not, unless I want to stay till dark, which I'm not going to, I'm never going to see that tide again. So the first part of the thinking of it came honestly with my practice, and the first day I did end up, I had some extenuating circumstances, but I ended up staying out till about 4:30 or so, and loaded up. But I mean, the last hour or so I really didn't fish much. I just kind of rode and looked at stuff, and And then after that, like the next day, I was off the water at 3 o'clock. And and then we still have an off day, so it's not like I had to get off early to get my stuff ready. I had thought that out, and the thought process was partially not to overly exhaust myself from the heat of practice and just how hard that is on your body, but also the fact that I'm never going to see that particular tide again when it matters. So that was kind of the first part of it in my mind. And then as the tournament went on, I don't know that's a bass, dude. That's a really big one.
Ott just loaded up on something that just started peeling drag.
It's got me in a log over here. Oh, it's a bass. Yeah, he's got me hung up in a tree.
For those Otts in a heated competition with this.
Here we go. He come out. Oh yeah. As long as he don't come off now. We got him out of the tree though.
Light line, micro jigging, smallmouth.
Yeah, 10-pound leader. Got him. I thought it was a giant one, but it's another. See, and that's like what I was saying. It's about the same size.
Yeah, beautiful fish. I think that one's probably about a 219.
219. I think he's actually closer to the other one than you think. Let's see. 240.
240.
That's almost the exact same.
Yeah. Beautiful smallmouth bass.
Nice one. Probably gonna have to retire after that. Do I need to take
Are you willing to show what you're throwing, or is that a river secret, Ott?
No, I've actually never thrown this particular jig on the river before. After how much damage I did with the little jig up there at the Potomac. It's just a little tiny football head. Just a little tiny football head jig with a little Ned tail cut down on the back of it.
Huh.
Yeah, it's Brandon Coulter has told me. My GoPro just quit on me. He's caught a lot of fish, a lot of smallmouth, especially on a little jig, like St. Lawrence and places, and it's just, it definitely seems to work.
Yeah.
Definitely seems to work. You throwing this little groove right down through there, Spud.
All right, so back to it. So you kind of got dialed in where in practice you got the tide kind of dialed in. Kind of when was it when you thought, hey, I might be on something a little special here?
Yeah. There's a smallmouth right over there. There's a whole school of them right on the edge of the gravel right over there. I really, even the trying to think of which day of practice it was. Honestly, the first day of practice. So where I ended up, my winning area. I was in there 9 a.m. first day of practice, and got bit. Man, I actually we're going to rock with this, but I'm probably going to break it. No, I can't do that. It was pretty early the first day of practice that, I was in there and was getting bit, and I got bit on a buzzbait, and that was kind of my deal, Matt, was that I would go through these areas pretty quick in practice. Let me see. Can you still see me on that?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we got good fish in action. I feel like we're gonna see a hook set here any moment.
Yeah, there definitely is a chance of it. But for me, I did a much better job, and looking back at it, on practice from this one than I have most of the year. For one, I didn't. It's no secret that I'm not great with forward-facing sonars, and for me, even in practice, a lot of guys, it speeds them up. It slows me down. It just does. I don't know any other way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do about it. It just it is what it is. It's just the way my life with live scope is. It slows my processing down. But I didn't use it much, and I did a much better job of practicing in that I covered a lot of water, and I was very efficient. And once I went in, it truly again was the creek that I ended up winning out of, and I was in there early and got several bites pretty quick, and it kind of showed me the potential, I guess, was the thing. I saw right away that, man, if you got in the right area, it was nothing to get 6 or 8, 10 scoreable bites fast. if you were in the right area. And I'm not fishing slow. Again, I'm burning through these areas with a bladed jig or a buzz bait. And I felt like then it's one of those kind of deals. It's like, well, everybody in the field's probably doing this. Well, sometimes it's the case, sometimes it's not. And so I felt like I had potential to have a good tournament pretty early on in practice by middle of the first day. And having seen that, and kind of my goal going in was partially, I mean, a big part of it, I was like, if I can have a top 20, I'm going to have I'm going to set myself up to where Red Crest is now easy. And that was my goal. And I felt like figuring out what I did right away, I was going to have a real shot at a top 20. So I pretty much locked into that. Like I didn't go look for main river grass beds. I didn't fish hard cover. I literally went creek to creek to creek. And because of that, I felt like I had looked at most every good creek that had potential. Parker just missed one.
Oh yeah,
The whole school of them right here. And then he just splashed on their head. Get back out in front of them, you'll get one of them. JD's got one in the back.
JD's got one.
JD but he's got one.
JD might have to come up and show that one off to the camera. We'll give him a little love.
Yeah, when he gets there up here close, we'll get him to show it.
Ask JT, is JD still like? I mean, is he still? Is he still like? Does he have any slots open for more anglers, or is he pretty much booked up when it comes to the super agent game?
Matt Panger's asking if you're booked up as far as your
super agent.
Your being a super agent, JD, or if you got any open.
I mean, there's a lot of young 20-year-olds out there that I feel like need a super agent now. It seems like there's a new one that pops up every other week.
Yeah, he said there's a lot of 20-year-olds. Oh, you got it. A lot of 20-year-olds that need could use some JD advice. Some JD.
Now, did you end up? I showed a clip of you in one of the opening rounds catching them on a buzz bait, but that didn't end up being a major player for you, or you mentioned that you also okay.
No, it wasn't. I thought it was going to be like after practice. Like I thought the buzz bait deal was my primary gig, but it really didn't end up playing out that way. And I think it was largely to do with the timing of it, of the time of day and the tides, because in practice the lower tide was earlier, and and so obviously that kind of coincided with daylight, the first couple hours of that, and I think that was a big part of it. And then it got to be pressure too, from myself as well as other anglers, that you just needed to be a little more natural, a little slower. And that was, I just saw one right there. That's why the jig and the other stuff ended up playing more throughout the course of the week.
You're sight fishing now for smallmouth on the river, but you also saw a lot of fish on the Potomac, right?
I did, yeah. I definitely did. I mean, the last day, it wouldn't surprise me that of my 32, it was more than 6, but somewhere in the 8 of the catfish. Somewhere in the 8 to 10 range of my scoreable fish I saw first.
Really? And those fish were fine. I mean, from what I saw from anglers who were practicing, I saw 90+ degree water temperatures. Those fish were up in less than 2 foot of water in high 80s, low 90s.
And back in a lot of those areas I was fishing, it was cooler, because it was those creeks flowing in and things.
Okay.
So that water was cooler. It was 80, 82. And that's a big part of why those areas are good, That's definitely a big part as to why those areas were good. But it really didn't matter. Like, I mean, the first day, my secondary, I caught about 40 pounds out of my primary deal and left about noon. And the next place I went to, I probably caught 30 plus pounds there. And the water was 90. I mean, it was really like
holy cow.
They didn't care, man. They bit, and it's surprising to me because we don't see that a lot where I live. That water gets that warm, our fish they get really, really hard to catch. And man, we saw it last year when we were up at the James. That water was 90, 92 when we were there about that same week. And those fish just bit. Like, I don't know. It almost like it even makes them bite more. You know, I don't know if that's a title thing or what it is, but
so I'm cycling through some of these pictures that MLF did a really great job of kind of capturing. It looks like you're in a bamboo forest back there. You can't even see the water like that. Would those fish stay in the creek? Would they come up with the tide? Like I've fished the James and the Chickahominy a little bit and kind of seen it, but I've always struggled. There's a great picture of it like that. Like when you're up in a skinny creek like that, do those fish on low tide just go to the very middle of it, or where the heck do they go?
Right. I absolutely think the good creeks, like what this one was, I absolutely think they stay. And the reason why, and in my opinion, what makes a good one from just all the rest of them is the fact that there will be some pools of water, you know, back there in it. So you go back and there's a bend, and it's not like the creek just, JD's hooked up again. It's not like the creek just steadily gets shallower. That's the littlest fish we've seen all day.
Oh boy! And big shout out to Phoenix Moore of MLF. It says photo by Phoenix Moore. That if that's his name, that's a awesome name.
Yeah, it is. We actually renamed him Felix, but Phoenix is his name.
Yeah, Phoenix is some really good drone shots of MLF, really showing kind of that area that you were in back there. I mean, you basically have them corralled. Yeah,
you do. But those creeks that have will have places where there's a deeper pool back there. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones that I absolutely think those fish stay. Like I do think a couple of things. I think there were multiple factors that worked for me with those creeks this week. So I think that there was the really hot weather, that the main bays got super hot. Okay. And I think some fish then were seeking refuge going back into those creeks. There was the fact that after the first day of competition, we had big rain. Okay. And that big rain put inflow in the back of those creeks and cooler water. And Parker is hooked up.
We got fish on, Parker.
Got a fish on. So you had, he's running, these fish it's so shallow, they run at the boat doing 100 miles an hour. And then he's Iconelling him around the back of the boat.
Oh, we got to get him in front of the boat. This is his chance. He's on BTL Live right here. Okay, now we're risking JD's phone.
We're risking the biscuit.
Oh, he's behind the boat on the back.
He's on the pod. Put some pressure on him. Get him in the boat, son.
And then he boat flipped it. That's bold. He just
boat flipped it. Yeah. Like ain't nothing to it. We're risking
totally
for the
screwing up your YouTube video here. I apologize.
You pirated it, Panger. Panger the pirate.
I know.
It's all for the viewer, all for BTL.
Yeah. What are we guessing this one's gonna go? This one's a tad smaller than.
It is a tad smaller. I'm gonna go with 165.
I'm gonna give him 172 on that fish.
172. Well, I will say our Bracknell scales, it's only 0.05. So you're either gonna be just so you're aware.
Oh.
Scales are ready.
Everyone's all mossied oak out.
167.
160. 160.
I'm on the scoreboard.
Is that what I said again?
No.
I think you said, you were right there. Yeah. It's like you've done this before.
It's actually like I know all these fish.
Yeah.
It's almost like I know their names.
Yeah. The third thing, you were talking about everything that worked to your advantage.
Yeah, everything worked in my favor. So there was the big rain after the first day and during the second day. We had big rain during the second day. So, and I'm saying like a lot of the Virginia side of the river, the whole river, a lot of the river got like 2 to 4 inches of rain, in a 24-hour period. So that's pretty significant. All the creeks, got a lot of flow because of that. So there was that. And then the first day, oh man, that's one that's come looked at me. Big black one too. The first day of the tournament, we had a super, super high tide. And I think it had something to do with wind out in the bay, out in like Chesapeake Bay, pushing back towards the Potomac, because that second day, high tide was honestly a foot and a half higher than the high tide had been, all three or 2 days of practice and the first day of the tournament. So um, that super high tide just allowed more fish to go back into those places. There's current flowing into those places. Like there's so many things working for the back of a creek. And that was kind of what we talked about. You were like, man, this was a thinking man's tournament. I see one sitting in a hole up there in the grass.
I'm too short.
He's
The
up there.
far side or the?
He's floating up in the grass right up there.
Okay, I think I see him.
Yeah.
Is that eelgrass?
It is eelgrass. Yes, it is.
You're going to be behind by the end of the interview. I'll give you a couple more questions and I'll let you get
You're,
back to
no,
it.
you're good. You're good. This is all. It's fun doing this with folks watching live. Hopefully they're enjoying it. But yeah, all three of those factors working in, I think, going back to that was a big part as to why the creek.
The one thing that I wanted to mention though, so you were kind of in the same area as, was it Keith Carson, I believe? We're hooked up again. Oh, it came off.
Yeah, that was a little bit better one. That was way out here in the middle too. Keith Carson and I started back there day one together. He and I were the only two who started in there. But yes, we did. We started in the back of that same deal together. And it was, if you watched any of the live coverage, I'm sure you did. He was fishing that discharge deal. And it was one of those kind of things like going in there, I know it's there. And I kind of went over there and looked at it in practice, but there were actually a couple of kayakers there fishing it. And so I'm like, they were literally, it's small. Like, they were, I don't want to say they were in the way. They were fishing. They were doing what they were doing. But I wasn't just going to troll right up in the middle of them. But, hey, is there any fishing here? I've got a big time. I wasn't going to be that guy. So I ended up never actually truly looking at it in practice to know what the potential was. So day one, I want to fish in the back of the actual creek. And I was the first boat in there. I got where I wanted to be, put my Raptors down, wait on lines in, and we get started. Dude, he blisters them. He's like 40 pounds in the first period. I'm like, you dummy, you literally had the pick of the litter. You could be anywhere back here you want, and you chose the wrong spot.
Like, and could you watch him physically, like see him with your eyes?
Part of the time, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that had to be a little bit stressful.
Oh, it was terrible. So I'm like, how did you give up? And at that point in the tournament, first, like I'm catching them, but I'm like, this is my year. This is the way it's been. I've been so close so much of the time, and then I make one little off decision, and instead of having a great tournament, instead of this being a great tournament, I'm going to have to be happy with a 25th place finish or whatever. That was my thought at 9 o'clock in the morning on the first day because of how good he had done, and I was just kind of catching some fish. Obviously, his deal, for whatever it kind of played out, he caught fish there every day, and the championship day, late in the day, was the first time I ever actually ended up fishing it, and I caught a few over there. But yeah, it was kind of one of those deals. It was like, how do you do this the first day? You make this decision and miss the obvious easy deal and just give it away when you had it right there in your hip pocket. So.
And then it ended up coming to you on the final day.
You know that raccoon we saw in the morning? There's baby raccoons in our trash can.
Jenny just called on my phone to tell us that there's baby raccoons at the house.
Yeah, I had a mama cat have kittens at my house, which did not end well because she decided to stick them in my wheel well.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, no, not a pleasant story. So who's leading in the tournament now?
I'm leading. I think I've got 4 fish, right?
It's 1 pound.
Yeah, but he's swimming to you now. I've got 4 that are all like two somethings, and that last one of Parker's was his first one. So he's got a little hill to climb.
I have 2.
You have 2?
He should have 4. I see you loaded up on that. Loaded up on a good one there.
Yeah, that last one was definitely a nice one.
All right, any tackle baits, anything that you want to run through before I let you get back to the derby at hand?
The big thing on the last day, obviously a little finesse jig was a key, a key bait every day. But the on that championship day, a little Bass Pro Wacky Sticko was a big player for me on that championship day. And it was, the cool thing with it, I always, obviously, I love fishing like what you're watching right now. I mean, we're watching fish swim around. We're trying to make a good cast to them, trying to lead them, and catch a lot of fish on a wacky worm. I see 2 up there that Parker still doesn't see, and then another one down there.
Way up on the I'm short. I can't see.
He blames it on his lack of.
Hey, you
verticality.
could add the 4th element to the boat, which is a fixed ladder on the front deck, and really blow
ladder.
everyone's mind.
Yeah. Put a big ladder platform up here. That would be excellent. But yeah, that Wacky Sticko, and I always say, like, I don't know how much fishing like this, like, I enjoy it, obviously, and that's a big part of why I love river fishing. It's just fun, but truthfully, the way I was catching them in that creek, especially with the wacky worm, the lessons that I learned fishing like this, they actually applied for me in that situation. Where a lot of times I don't know that. I mean, we're just out here having a good time, and Parker's actually got. Let's see if we can get this one in. You got the hook in him yet?
Yeah, he's big daddy.
Oh, he is little. Not going to be a pound. Non-scoreable bass. But the part of that, and probably the biggest, if I was going to give a fishing tip to people, listening right now or watching and stuff, when you're sight fishing, and there was a little bit of current obviously in that creek, drifting your bait to those fish, and that's a wacky worm was good, and a jig was good. I caught several sight fishing with a jig, but drifting your bait to those fish, like so often, so many people see a fish and they want to land like this close to it. You've got to be. There's his little. That one will grow up to be big one day. You've got to land up in front of them and let that bait get down to them, and then drift naturally to them. That whole trying to land on their head and stuff, you're just, even a long cast away, so often those fish are just not going to bite. You've got to let that bait kind of come to them. So even in clear water like this, I mean, there's one up here.
I mean, like Steve Kennedy comes to mind with his kind of how he likes to fish that. You've seen him, on Pickwick, on the Alabama River and stuff, where that river fishing for trout, for places with current, things like that. Like, definitely there are times where it takes you back to old school stuff. We got some hot action right here. What are we chucking now? We could get a buzz bait.
It's an iCast release. It's not a.
Is this the first look?
It might be. Might not be supposed to be, but there was a fish up here busting. Yeah, I saw that one before you ever cast.
Oh, that sounds interesting, Ott.
Can you hear it?
Oh yeah, you can hear it.
Okay.
That sounds like kind of super high pitched, a little tingy, but that you can fish it slow.
Yeah,
intentionally not giving us a good look at it.
Yeah, it is a very interesting.
Can we say what brand it is for people to look out for?
It's definitely a Rapala, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's out. I think that might be the first sound of the. It's a plopper style bait, but with the metal. I saw that on social media.
Yeah, sure is. It's a really cool bait for sure.
Well, I greatly appreciate it, Ott. I know it's kind of a family business day for you to take time out to jump on BTO. We got multiple fish catches on it. We kind of got the down low on how things went down on your victory, and that definitely moved you solidly inside of Redcrest with one event left. Yeah.
It's that was, and obviously, going into this tournament was not, in my mind, winning was not my. As crazy that is to say, winning was not my initial focus. It was just have a good tournament, try to get safe for Redcrest, because I was like 27th going in. If I have a tough tournament, it's going to be really hard to make Redcrest. A decent tournament, I can, set myself up to where I've basically got it made in a top 10, and I would have it pretty well locked in. And so it's always funny to say, and just God's timing on how stuff works out. I would have been pretty doggone happy with the 15th place tournament. If you'd have said that from the start, I would definitely would have taken it, but certainly glad that he had bigger things in store for sure.
Awesome. All right, we're going to close it out.
Hold on, we got to see if this one bites JD's worm. I'm still looking at it. Oh, there's another one.
That's what I said. We're gonna give it one more cast. Give it your best effort. I'd love to end this interview on like.
There's a whole school of them.
Okay, we'll just watch and listen.
I don't know where they all went. Oh, they're still.
Could we get a triple up on BTL?
They're in there.
Oh, this is giving me severe FOMO. So I hydroplaned. My truck is actually at Myers Body Works, so I have a Mustang in the driveway now, which does not tow a bass cat. So I'm out of commission. So this is the closest I'll get to fishing for the next week or two.
You went all over your bait, and you were jerking it way too fast. Yeah, this is not your average East Tennessee fishing either. I mean, this is. You just landed on his head and scared him. Parker's playing defense.
Just talked about it.
He's playing defense. He's trying to. Fish was getting.
All right, one more cast dot, and we'll let you go. Okay. And while you're doing that, tell people where they can actually watch some of this stuff when it comes out.
JD's hooked up.
Oh,
yeah, they can check this stuff out on my YouTube channel. Let me see if I can get this thing out here. Here we go. Yeah, JD's hooked up back here. We'll show you. You'll get to end it on a fish catch anyways. Is
JD in the Derby?
JD is not. JD is. It's a good thing because he would be blowing it away.
Dude, that was actually pretty good fish.
Yeah, I think
it's dogging him back by the jet right now. Good form on JD.
Yeah,
fish
he's
is
coming
digging
on your good form.
He's got his head up. We'll see if he goes for the scoop or the lip here. Oh, that's a dandy.
Clear water.
Fish is doing that scary head shake thing next to the boat.
Is he going to scoop? Let's see.
Dreams are made and hearts are broken. He scooped it. Yeah. Fish went limp. JD with a nice one. We got to put that on the scales. We'll see if you can guess it. You can go 4 for 4 live.
That one is a 280. Yeah. Parker's hooked up. Man, I missed 260. 265.
Yeah. Now it's Parker's turn. It looks like a pretty good fish.
It's pulling pretty hard. Must be a carp.
Parker is dialed right now. He's dogging him underneath the boat too.
Yep.
He's got to the leader. Oh, another boat flip.
He boat flips it. He needs that sticker.
Parker boat flipper pulling his best Tommy Biffle.
Yep. He's even stiff-necked.
Minus the spinning rod.
Yeah. That's a pretty good way to cap off BTO. Have you had this many fish catches on BTO much before?
We have not. We did a live with James Watson once where he was doing the spoon jacking deal and he was catching them pretty good. But just as far as a straight interview,
220.
All right. Well, I've done my nice fish.
I'll end it.
And he hits it. All right, guys, have fun out there. Greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the day. It looks like that's what fishing's all about.
It is for sure, Panger. Thanks for having us on. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, JD. Worked out perfect.
Yes, it did. Good job. Thank you.
All right. See ya. All right. There we go. That is the one and only Ott DeFoe and the family out there on the water. All right, we'll take a break and then we'll wrap things up. Always a little nervous when you do it on the water stuff, how it's going to work out. And that was a 10 out of 10. So much appreciated and big shout out and congrats to Ott DeFoe on a cool win on the Potomac River. We'll take a final break, come back and look what we got going the rest of the week on BTL.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
As a professional angler, there's only one thing that connects you to your paycheck. Probably the most crucial part to tournament bass fishing. I use Sunline because they have a line for every application. shooter, FX2, All Might, super light line, big stuff, big sticks. Sunline has you covered.
Sharp as can be. Super strong, super durable.
Really good penetration.
Thinner and stronger.
Catch fish after fish.
I want to make sure that I'm using the best stuff possible.
World's finest hook. World's finest hook.
Gamakatsu, world's finest hook.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top on, Strike King.
Gear that just plain works. Cast after cast after cast. AFTCO. Any fish, any water.
Hey guys, Brian Schmidt here with Spro. I'm going to talk to you about the confidence I have in the equipment I use. You know, I have a charter boat business back home in Maryland. We fish for saltwater fish, and I also fish the Bassmasters Elite Series. So I keep my lights on by fishing. I have to have a lot of confidence in the equipment I use. Spro has me covered from head to toe, saltwater, freshwater, everything in between. A lot of high-end quality product. Spro has you covered.
Pro Bass Adventures is reinventing Mexico bass fishing. With boats equipped with 12-inch Garmin units and LiveScope Plus, free loaner fishing rods, and no-cost airport transportation, Pro Bass Adventures is proudly putting you in the best position for success. Pro Bass Adventures has lodges on Lake Baccarat and Lake El Salto, Mexico's two best trophy largemouth bass lakes. Visit ProBassAdventures.com or email ProBassAdventures@gmail.com. The official Mexico fishing lodge of Bass Talk Live. All right, welcome back, BTL, on a Tuesday. Great on the water action from Ott DeFoe as he broke down what was going on smallmouth fishing and the $100,000 plus win on the Potomac River to get the job done. Listen, you could do a whole segment on the Angler of the Year breakdowns, but new this year, if you guys haven't been watching or listening to it, the Best on Tour This Week episode, I do it with Dave Rush. We actually just do a 6 to 10 minute breakdown on what is happening in the industry, both on and off the water. Dave talks about that really cool. There's a really interesting concept of a new team series that's out, I believe, down in Texas, where they're trying to work the forward-facing sonar into these regional, local events and things. And the way that this works, that I understand it, is you can use forward-facing sonar, but you have to catch a limit first before you can turn it on, a 5-fish limit. So Dave talks a little bit more about that in the most recent episode. Also, we break down the Angler of the Year races, what's left, what we have, what you guys can watch in the next month here for the Elite Series, the Bass Pro Tour, the Invitationals, and the NPFL. One of the things that I was interested in was I showed that catch. So, I mean, the buzzbait did play a little bit. He thought he was going to find the fish on a buzzbait. So I had that small, looked like a black buzzbait on there. But is 2025 kind of turning into the year of the buzzbait? We had Pat Schlopper, who won on the Sabine River primarily. I mean, everyone mix it in. It's hard. I can't, you can name a exclusive major tournament tour win that has been won 100% on the buzzbait. Nothing comes to mind. I can think of guys who have caught key fish, who have started out every morning, who have caught fish on the buzzbait, have been a big player, but I can't remember a event that has won exclusively on a buzzbait. But anyway, so he played a little bit with Ott here, and then obviously we had Jake Lawrence on in that event. with Jacob Wheeler. He threw a buzz bait, so he had Pat Schlopper who won on it. I mean, he's actually got it out in Shields. It's kind of cool. He's got like his picture behind it. But that's 3 events, and I'm sure there's been a couple more on that. I think it's just like that kind of style, like where they're going, the time of the year, the conditions of the fishery. But it's been cool. We see the spinnerbait that makes a resurgence every 4 or 5 years, and I'm going to say this is probably the year. The buzzbait, yes, the MPFL tomorrow on the St. Lawrence River. No forward-facing sonar in that. Expect that to be a total slugfest. I don't know if floggers are allowed in the MPFL or not, but it'll be interesting to see if there's fish on the bed still on the St. Lawrence, or if that'll be primarily an offshore post-spawn deeper bite with no forward-facing sonar. I think you're going to see a lot of hair. Bright colored spinner baits, the jerk bait, the spy bait, a lot of guys that are dragging, Ott had that kind of micro smaller jig that he was throwing for those smallmouth there. That's become really popular, as well as that drop shot, a heavy Ned. It'll be really interesting to see how that NPFL goes down. And then what I'm working on also, you're seeing all sorts of cool baits come out. I think Spro, I posted it on my story. I think it's still on my story on Instagram, just at Matt Pangrak. The Spro KGB K rig. Here, look at this thing. It's like 3 of the Spro swim baits all combined in like a rig. That's coming out. A bunch of new stuff coming out at ICAST. So we're looking at getting some of the industry guys that support BTL to get on to talk about what they have at ICAST. I am not going to ICAST. That is next week, the 15th through the 18th, I believe. Some of the major manufacturers not going to be at ICAST. It'll be interesting. I've got a lot of friends in the industry who are going, a lot of friends who aren't going. It'll be interesting to see what the vibe is this year at ICAST, the industry showcase, where the newest, latest, and greatest I've already seen. I think this is probably going to be the year of just the straight jig head. So you're talking the tactical jig heads that are designed specifically to help minnows roll, and then also I think big minnows are going to be a big player at ICAST, but we will see. So stay tuned to that for another full week of shows. Then Frank will be back on Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Other than that, big shout out to Ott, JD, the DeFoe family for letting us peek in on their day on the river. We will talk to everybody later. See ya.